get into it a little bit more with our legal panel. Leo Terrell, also a Fox News contributor, Andrew Stoltmann, adjunct law professor at Northwestern University, and Lee Zeldin, attorney and former New York congressman. Leo, gonna go ahead and start with you. So look, Stormy Daniels wrapped up her testimony yesterday. Extremely salacious stuff, a lot of it having absolutely nothing to do with the case. She said she could talk to dead people yesterday. Then we got Michael Cohen set to testify on Monday. He's been live streaming on TikTok, trying to raise money, wearing shirts showing Trump behind bars in jail. This is the prosecution's star witnesses?
Yeah, and they have not produced any evidence against President Trump. I want the Fox viewers to understand one thing. There are going to be some jury instructions, and that jury instruction is going to say if you do not believe a witness testimony on one element, you can disbelieve everything. Stormy Daniels has no evidence whatsoever against President Trump. Her credibility is shot. Was she in for the money or was she not in for the money? The question is, what was her motivation? The fact is that Stormy Daniels provided nothing but to do harm to President Trump. Her testimony was solely for that purpose. Michael Cohen, the attorney for Trump, is going to try to throw Trump under the bus based on testimony and advice that he gave. I would submit to you, Bill, that there has been no evidence whatsoever from Stormy Daniels or from Michael Cohen next week, and this trial is for one purpose only: to hurt Trump's chances in November 2024. It's not going to work. Look at the polling. It's a complete failure on the part of the Democrat Party and the judge.
Andrew, to you, it really seemed to me like Stormy Daniels was trying to bait Trump with her social media post yesterday, essentially saying, get on the stand, get in her testimony, and tell your side of the story. Do you think Trump should testify, or is there too much risk in that?
Well, at this point, I don't think he needs to testify. You know, I'm kind of reminded of the old Wendy's commercial where the old lady says, where's the beef, right? We've had 120 exhibits. We've had 10 separate witnesses, and so far they haven't proved the elements of the crime. This is a trial by character assassination. So does Trump need to testify? No, I don't think so, unless there's more devastating testimony to come out from somebody. When you predicate your case on porno stars and convicted liars like Michael Cohen, it means that you don't have enough detail. You don't have enough fabricating. You have witnesses fabricating testimony, and that's just not good enough for a criminal trial like this.
Yeah, and the Missouri Attorney General is actually going on a little bit of a fishing expedition here to see if there's some ties between DOJ and Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg's office. So we can pull up this call for right here. He's actually sending a letter to DOJ demanding any records between DOJ and Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg's office. Essentially, he's pointing to the fact that, what he's done is he's filed a Freedom of Information request for any records of communication between the DOJ office and the Manhattan DA's office. And what he's looking at is the fact that former DOJ official Matthew Colangelo was hired to Alvin Bragg's office and is now involved in the prosecution. So, Lee, I'll turn to you here. Is there smoke here?
Yeah, it's great that the Missouri Attorney General is looking into this, and obviously there's a connection between the Biden Department of Justice and Bragg's office, as evidenced by the Colangelo example that you just gave. The third-ranking person at the Department of Justice leaving that position to become an assistant district attorney in one of America's counties to try this case. Clearly, there's a connection there. And, you know, Bragg campaigned on taking down Trump. He didn't say what the charges would be. Same thing with Tish James at Fannie Willis down in Georgia. They got elected based off of this pledge to take down Trump, but they didn't know how they were going to do it. In this case, there hasn't been a lot of coverage on this, but Juan Marchand was also the judge on a Trump Organization case, on the Weisselberg case, on the Steve Bannon case, the same exact judge. So there is a lot to look into to understand exactly the participants, the why of how we got here. And as was so eloquently covered here just now by Leo and Andrew, when you get into the weeds, here we are at the end of the third week of hearing testimony, and they still haven't proved any of the elements of the charged crimes.
Yeah, and it's almost 4 weeks now of Donald Trump not really able to get out there on the campaign trail, which he says is really the basis for this trial. He accuses the Democrats of trying to interfere in this election by not letting him get out there. You're taking a live look at the courtroom right now. We saw Donald Trump walk in just a few moments ago. He made some comments earlier this morning complaining about the gag order. You can sense his frustration against Stormy Daniels, calling him out on Twitter yesterday, saying you should step up and testify. You got Michael Cohen live streaming himself on TikTok, trying to help sell merchandise showing Trump in jail. So a lot of frustration from the former president. We'll keep checking in as court is set to resume within the next 5 to 10 minutes or so, most likely. And as this New York trial rolls on, Trump's 3 other criminal trials are really all in limbo right now. One of them, his federal election interference case, hinges on the Supreme Court's impending decision on presidential immunity. Now, justices heard arguments late last month, and they're supposed to deliver their decision by the end of their term, which is in late June. But former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton had this knock on the high court yesterday. Take a listen.
The Supreme Court is doing our country a grave disservice in not deciding the case about immunity. What we heard when this case was tried before the Supreme Court, to my ear at least, were efforts to try to find loopholes, to try to create an opportunity for Trump to have attempted to overturn an election, to have carried out hundreds and hundreds of pages of very highly classified material for his own amusement, interest, trading.
Leo, Hillary Clinton knows a thing or two about mishandling classified information. What do you make of her comments?
Thank you for that question. I've been waiting all day for this. Hillary Clinton is still in denial. Newsflash, she lost the 2016 election. The Supreme Court did a marvelous job, and if Hillary is watching, let me make it clear. There is a distinction between official conduct in the office of the presidency that is required to receive immunity and personal conduct. The Supreme Court did an excellent analysis, unlike the Court of Appeals, and they are making a factual finding as to sending this case probably back to the district court for analysis as to what is covered by immunity and what is not covered by immunity based on official versus personal acts. So Hillary Clinton is just simply sour grapes. This is a woman, if I'm correct, wiped out a server, bleach wash evidence, and got away with it without facing any federal prosecution. So this is a person who is just still angry about losing the election because the voters rejected her.
Yeah, and we all remember that infamous press conference with FBI Director James Comey at the time where he laid out all that evidence but said, we're not going to charge her. Thank you to our panel. Gentlemen, go ahead and stay with us this morning. We're going to come back to you as this trial continues to unfold.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.